one wants to be used. Basically, what I'm trying to say is no one wants to be used. And I get that you feel as though since you're not contributing to this financially, it seems as though I guess you're just using him, but he just wants to share this experience with you. Let him share it. It's like sometimes we get into the way of our own blessing. Hello and welcome to Kitchen Table Advice. My name is Paula and I am the host of this podcast. This podcast is a place where you can ask for any advice you want. It can be relationship, both platonic or romantic, career advice, or life advice. I wanted to create a space where people could ask questions without fear of rejection. I can't guarantee it'll be good advice, but I can guarantee there'll be no shame on my end. Your name will be anonymous and your identity will always be kept a secret. This is not professional advice, and I am not a licensed therapist or psychologist, and you are under no obligation to take this advice. Just think of this as advice you would get from a close friend on a kitchen table. So, let's begin. Hello, listeners. We are back, and as usual, we're just going to dive into the first story of the episode. So the title is, How Do I Stop Feeling Guilty About My Boyfriend Paying for things? I'm a 24-year-old woman and my boyfriend, a 29-year-old man, just booked a trip for us to go to South America next month. He keeps saying that he feels like I'm not excited for the trip, and I am. It's just I feel incredibly guilty. He's footing the bill for the plane tickets, was staying at his parents' vacation home there. He's been there a couple of times now, so he has this entire itinerary planned on places he wants to take me and things he wants to show me. He says he wants to quote unquote spoil me and give me this experience. I'm excited about all of this, but I just feel so anxious and guilty at the same time. I currently make nowhere near as much as he does, and without him paying, this isn't something I would be able to afford or do otherwise. So it's not even to say I can reimburse him for what he's spent or is planning to spend, because that will put me in a bad place financially. I generally feel pretty comfortable letting him pay for stuff, but this is much bigger than him covering dinner or something. He's been picking up on my anxiety and is perceiving that as me not being excited to go and me being unhappy. How do I get past feeling so guilty and anxious about letting him do this for me? Wow. We'll be back with our advice after this break. Okay, we are back and we are live. This is very interesting. And I have heard a lot of girls say this before. They feel guilty for their partners, especially when they're men. Well, this is usually when people are heterosexual. But they feel guilty with their partner covering some stuff like paying for this, paying for that, paying for this, because they don't want, they don't want to come off as maybe you're using that person. But honestly, like he said, he wants to spoil you. He wants you to have this experience with him. Like, sometimes I think us women, we get into our heads too much and we try to divvy up the task equally, make sure that everyone is good. But like, girl, just relax and take it. It's okay. If it's really that bad, I don't even know what to tell you, because it's like he's giving stuff. He's giving you this. He wants you to experience this trip. He has gone through so many times. He obviously does not need the trip. He purely is doing this because he cares for you and he appreciates you and he wants you to have the same experience that he has. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure you as a friend, when you find out something cool that your friend would be interested in, you tell that person like, girl, oh, I found this. Let's do this. Let's do that. And maybe you guys plan that as friends. That's kind of what I do with my friends. So that's where that example came from. This is the same thing. It's like he has gone through this thing. He has had this experience. And now he wants to share that with you because he loves you, but you don't want him to do that, and you're feeling anxious and guilty because you feel like it's too much. It's like, hold your horses. I do understand because you don't want to seem as though you are using him, especially financially. Some men can get that can be a censor for some men, especially men. It's like, or women that you're using. No one wants to be used. Basically, what I'm trying to say is no one wants to be used. And I get that you feel as though since you're not contributing to this financially, it seems as though I guess you're just using him, but he just wants to share this experience with you. Let him share it. It's like sometimes we get into the way of our own blessings. You've admitted you would never be able to go on this excursion with what you're making right now. He's 29, you're 24. I mean, from that age gap alone, I mean, it's not really a big age gap, but I'm just saying, like, a 29-year-old, most people enter the job field at around what, maybe 22, 23. I'm just throwing numbers out there. I don't really know, so you guys can go look it up and then tell me. But like, if you're gonna enter if you're gonna enter the job field at, let's say, 22, right? You've had 2 years to build up your career, and he has had 7. Obviously, he's gonna make more money than you. Like, even if you guys are in the same field, he will obviously make more money than you. It's just like, it makes sense. You enter a career and maybe you go up the ladder, or you go where you're needed, whatever. He has more experience than you just overall. So it makes sense for him to have more money than you. He wants you to have this experience that he's already had, something that he wants you, the person that he loves, to have this experience that he loves. He wants to share this love with you, but you're here feeling all anxious because of, it's just, I get it, and I really do get it, because there are a lot of people online, and especially men, who cry about women using them for their money. And some women do use men for their money. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't happen. Yes, it does. It happens. But then there are also a lot of cases like this where people feel like they can't really spoil their partner, whether it's a woman cooking for her boyfriend or a guy spoiling his girl just because they want to. They want you to be happy and they want to give you this thing. And yes, if it's spending a bunch of money on you, or if it's cooking a good meal for you, they want to do that. But now people don't want to do that, and they try to make relationships transactional. It's like, we really need to stop. Okay, we really need to stop with this whole transactional thing. It's just like, sometimes relationships should definitely be give and take. I would definitely say that. Relationships should be give and take. Sometimes you're going to give and sometimes you're going to take. This just happens to be one of the times you're taking, girl. Next time, you're going to give to him. And it may not be in a form of a trip. It may be in a form of something that is more within your realm, more within your finances, or more within your skills even. It doesn't even have to be a financial thing. We try to make everything like money, 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 money. We need to calm down. Like, I've seen this a lot, and this is also kind of, I think this is where, but like some people have explained this to me, this is where that whole mindset of women paying for dinner came from, because they don't want the guy to spend this money on them, and then they have to basically make it a transaction. It's like, this is a relationship. Relationships are not meant to be transactional. They're purely emotional. People who go in relationship thinking they're transactional are kind of cuckoo. But relationships were not meant to be transactional. Relationships are emotional. Unless you're back in the day when people did arranged marriages, then yeah, back then it was definitely pure transactional. But right now, in the realm of people getting together for love, relationships are supposed to be emotional. They're supposed to be. I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they are, but they are supposed to be. Is there going to be a give and take? Yes. Is there going to be some time where you're going to have to give to your partner? Absolutely. Is there going to be some time where you're going to have to take from your partner? Absolutely. So if you're in a similar situation, don't really feel bad that your boyfriend or your girlfriend is spoiling you. If you know in the back of your mind, there is going to be a time when you two are going to be able to give back to them. Don't just take, or give. That's kind of what creates that imbalance where people are unhappy. But it's like, it's a give and take. Sometimes you're going to give, sometimes you're going to take. In this instance, she's taking. If you feel guilty for your partner spending this huge sum on you, Just think this in the back of your mind that there is going to be a time when you two are going to give to him, make him feel cherished, or make her feel cherished, make him feel welcome, and really appreciate them in a way that only you can. It does not always have to be financial, like I said. You can, there are a lot of stuff to make your partner feel appreciated. And in this instance, he wants to make her feel appreciated by taking her on a trip to South America. That's the way he's showing his love. Let him give it to you. Girl, calm down. It's not that serious. But there is another thing though that I do want to tackle, and I've been seeing this a lot lately. Where it's like women or maybe even men, but I have a lot of women friends, so I just tend to say women. They don't feel comfortable accepting gifts because they don't think they're worthy. And that is like a brand new stuff I just started realizing. It's like some people don't feel comfortable accepting gifts because, I mean, yeah, some people may see it as transactional. Oh, now that you gave me a gift, now I have to give one back to you. But there's also another instance where people don't feel as if they're worthy of getting a gift. And that one is just like, I am so sorry if you're one of those people. Why? If you're in a similar situation and you're feeling as if you're not worthy to receive this gift, really examine why is that, because this isn't just feeling guilty because you don't make enough, or it's like this is like a whole new other thing, and I've just started hearing about it. So I don't even know how to tackle it at the time, but it's just, but I know it's a thing where it's like a lot of people don't want to receive a certain amount of gift because they don't feel like they are worthy of the gift. And it's just like it's something that me too I have to learn about, because I'm pretty sure you guys are going to send me stories of stuff like that, and I need to figure out, I need to come up with a way to try to give you an advice, because right now it's just like it's a brand new thing that I just heard of. So yeah, but if you're in a similar situation as this girl, just like, please don't be anxious. Please don't feel guilty or frustrated. Your partner loves you and he cares about you and he wants to show you this amazing experience he has had. Like you said, you're going to his parents' vacation home. He has been there before. Girl, trust me. He's planning this trip specifically for you. He has been there before. He's been there, done that. And now that you've showed up in his life and you are the love of his life, he wants to share this amazing thing that happened with you. People do this all the time. You do the same thing with your friends who are women. It's like when you find this amazing thing and then you hear your friend also likes it, guess what? You guys share that information. It's normal, but like, do not feel guilty because he's making more and he's taking you on this trip because of the dollars. Like, he wants to share this with you and he obviously loves you. And when the time comes, when it's your turn to give back to him. And again, it does not have to be in a financial way. It can mean any way you can give back, but girl, just take it for the experience that it is. Go have fun. Go to the beaches in South America. Honestly, just go have fun and go live your life. And stop feeling guilty, because if you bring this feeling of guiltiness on the trip, it's even going to make him feel bad, because it's like, I'm trying to share this amazing thing with you and I thought you would like it, but now you don't like it. So it's like, it just puts the giver in an awkward position. It's like, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this. I don't know how many people have, but you buying a gift for someone and then they reject it. It's like, I think most people have the decency to know that even if I don't like the gift, I'm still going to take it, say thank you. Even if I'm not going to use it, I think so, right? Most people do that, right? Why am I asking for validation? But I think most people would just take the gift even if they're not going to use it. That's kind of like the same thing. You go on this trip feeling guilty, being anxious, like, ugh. It's kind of like you rejecting someone physically giving you a gift. And you're like, oh, no, thank you. That's awkward. That's weird. This guy loves you. He cares about you. He wants you to have the same experience he had. It was obviously a fun experience, so now he wants to share it with you. Go just take it. Go have fun on your trip. And next time, when it will be time for you to give, you just give it back to him in any way that you can. That is it. That is all. Don't feel guilty about someone spoiling you. Like, most people spoil people they love. It just is. I think that's kind of part of human nature. When we love someone, we tend to gravitate toward them, and we tend to spoil them or give them what we can. Take the gift for what it is. Go have fun. Don't worry about it too much. So that was that, and we're gonna jump into the second story of the episode. All right, so we're gonna dive into the second story of the episode, and the title is "Are These Signs He's Pulling Away from Me, and How Should I Handle the Situation?" Okay, so let's go. I'm a 7-year-old woman, and I've been dating this guy, a 25-year-old man, for about 1 month and 1 month. We are in a relationship, 2 months in total. Why did she say 1 month and 1 month? Okay, so last month we were hanging out every Saturday, and everything was great. We were physically intimate, but not, you know. And that was also great. I could see his eyes on me and his looks. He is very affectionate and bought me expensive gifts, and he would drive an hour to see and hang out with me. On the other hand, I've also brought him similar gifts and would drive the same amount to see him. He's very affectionate with his words and action until the middle of this week. He started acting very distant and wouldn't respond to any of my texts the whole day. I decided to not overreact and give him space. But last night, eventually, I asked him what is happening. He said he has some serious problem. People are, quote unquote, scaring him and want to beat him, something like that. And he doesn't want me to worry. I said I'm there for him, but he needs to communicate with me if we want to make it work. He acknowledged it, but after that he said he won't be hanging out with me on Saturday because some friend, parentheses from far away, is coming to his town and he'll be spending some time with him. I said I was okay with that, but I also miss him. He said he would try to find another day for us. We don't hang out except Saturday, even though we could. And even though I proposed that already, he said he's busy with his job. I also asked if there are problems with our relationship because I feel he is distant and he plans to pull away slowly from me. He said no, and if he wanted that, he would never pursue anything with me and everything will be fine. I didn't ask for anything else. He didn't propose another date, parentheses, he just said he would plan for another day. And he's still unresponsive to my messages. I'm not bombarding him or anything like that, just morning messages. I'm not sure what I could do or even should do. Should I just leave him and let Saturday pass and wait if he will schedule a day for us? And should there be a limit? Because now we'll be 8 days without seeing each other, and I'm not sure if hanging out with your BF once every 2 weeks is okay. I feel like I am not the priority and he's just prolonging our separation. This is my first relationship after a 4-year pause. I would like to hear some opinions. Wow. We'll be back with our advice after this break. We are back. We are back. Okay, so we are back. And honestly, you've been dating. Okay, wait. Okay, so you said, I don't understand. Did you begin the relationship 2 months ago, or did you start dating 2 months ago? Because that's kind of confusing. The first line is, I've been dating this guy for about 1 month and 1 month. We are in a relationship. Parentheses, 2 months in total. Or did you start dating 1 month ago and then you became in a relationship 1 month ago? Maybe that's where the 1 month and 1 month comes in. I don't know. But anyways, girl, I think you need to come up with boundaries when you are in a relationship for yourself, not even just related to this guy, but if you're in a similar situation, I would tell you you need boundaries, and if you need to physically write them down, that's fine. I completely understand. But you need boundaries when you're dating a guy. And if not responding to your text in a timely manner is a boundary, then once that happens, you let the person know that this is a boundary of yours. And if you do it again, then it obviously, you know what to do. You're going to have to enforce the boundary. I tell you guys this a lot. I don't really know how you should handle the situation. Honestly, he's not communicating. It does seem like as if you are not the priority in his life. However, he also told you he has a friend coming over for the weekend. Maybe she knows, maybe he hasn't talked to his friend in a while. Maybe it's like a close childhood friend and he just wants to spend time with him. I don't know. You haven't elaborated. I hope he has elaborated with you, but if he hasn't, that's kind of odd. Because this is a brand new relationship. Like, it's way too early for this stuff. I think it's way too early for this stuff. This is just supposed to be the honeymoon phase where you guys are like, close to each other. But okay. I get that people are different. This is new. But yeah. I don't know. The only thing I would tell you if you're in a similar situation, because I'm not gonna lie, when he said there's some people scamming him and wanting to beat him up, I just thought of the Tinder swindler. I was like, my enemies are coming after me. Really? Is that what's happening? That was my initial reaction. When I read that, I was like, Tinder swindler much? It's a brand new relationship. He's giving you gifts. You're reciprocating with similar gifts. I don't know. I'm not saying he's a con man or a swindler, but something is not clean in the water, okay? Which is actually why I'm giving the advice that I'm giving. It's not even related to the relationship at this point, but you need to have boundaries for when you are dating. What are your non-negotiables and your negotiables? If it is responding in a timely manner to your text, and you can define whatever timely manner is to you. Is it immediately? Is it a couple hours? Is it a day? Like, what is your limit on that? And, something you can negotiate and not negotiate. If it's, what else? If it's meeting at least once a week or maybe twice a week, it's like stuff like that. You need to come up with those stuff. Like, I know she has mentioned, but if you're in a similar situation, you need to make your own list. But she has mentioned that she doesn't think that seeing your partner every 2 weeks is, what does it say? She said, I'm not sure seeing each other every 2 weeks with your BF is okay. So obviously that is a non-negotiable for this lady. It's like, I need to see you at least a couple of times during a week or a couple of times during the span of 2 weeks. Some people can go months without seeing their partner, and that's okay for them. I'm not saying do that. If it's not okay for you, don't do it. The one thing you're always going to hear me say on this channel, I don't care if every single person likes this thing. If you don't like it, don't partake in it. It's not for you. That's okay. That's all right. I know sometimes people may tell you, no, you have to do this, no, you have to do that. But it's like, if it's not for you, it's not for you, and that's fine. So, what are your non-negotiables and what are your negotiables? What are stuff that you can be a little bit flexible on, and what are like, nope. If you do this, I am out. And your non-negotiables, do not bend on your non-negotiables. That's why I'm actually asking you to make a list of non-negotiables and negotiables. Your non-negotiables are ironclad. You are not bending on that. If it's seeing your partner at least twice a week, or whichever amount of time is convenient for you, write it down. And if it doesn't happen, let them know that this is affecting you. And I do want to say let them know, because as unfortunately, this comes back to how we are socialized as girls and women, to not be confrontational, to not say this, to not say that, because apparently you're nagging or whatever they try to use out here to demean us actually speaking our mind. I get it. We've all been socialized to be nice and be pleasant and not say what's on our mind. But guess what? Most women and girls, and this has happened to myself, sometimes we start holding stuff in. Okay, so he did this or she did this. I'm not gonna say it right now because I don't want to come off as confrontational. I don't want to, you know, make drama. Oh my gosh, drama. Drama is a whole entire thing. But like, I don't want to stir up drama. I don't want to start something. So I'm gonna bend, even though I don't like this behavior. I'm gonna bend. You bend the first time. They do it a second time again. You're like, okay, it's just the second time. He hasn't done this much, or she hasn't done this much. And I do say she because this also happens in friendships, okay? You bend the second time. It happens again. You bend the third time. You bend the fourth time. And then you're like, enough. You bring it up to your friend. And instead of bringing it up that first time where you were like, okay, so it happened. I really don't like this. Where you were kind of cool, calm, and collected. You're like, you have been doing this forever. You always do this. Why do you always act like that? And guess what? The other person's like, now wait a minute. I didn't even know this was an issue. Now you're bringing it up to my attention. Now that it's an issue, and not only that, you are yelling at me. And especially when you use stuff like definitive stuff like, this is how you always are. This, you never do this. People, and I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this, someone has said this to you. Most people, I don't know how many people don't like it, but most people hate it. Like, you always do this or you never do this. It's just like, now wait a minute. Maybe I don't do it a couple of times, but like, we're not gonna act like I'm this horrible person. And guess what? Instead of actually listening to you and taking note of like, oh, okay, I see that this is an issue for you and I'm gonna try my best to not do that. Instead of them actually listening to you and hearing your point of view, guess what? They're gonna get defensive, they're gonna get mad because they're gonna feel attacked. Because you've been bending over and over and over again until you're at your limit. And now you're like, well, this has been going on for too long. I have to bring it up to you. But instead of you bringing it up the first time when you were calm and collected, it's like, okay, it just happened once. You're bringing it up after this behavior has been going on for 5, 6, 7, 10 times. And you're angry. You're like, this is what you always do. Blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, we need to stop. And again, this is one of those instances where I'm not going to blame women or men or women or girls too much because we are all basically literally socialized to be pleasant, to be nice, to not stir up drama, to not make people feel uncomfortable, all these weird stuff. And this is why a lot of girls and women send me stuff like, oh, I'm in this type of situation and he's acting funny and I don't know what to do because I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know by now, it's like the stories are kind of repeating themselves. Because it's the same thing. I don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable, but it's like, but you're being uncomfortable right now. You have to voice your opinion. And it's easy to do that the first time around. It's like, as soon as that behavior happens, you're like, okay. You tell them in a calm tone, this is what happened. This is how you did this. This is the action you did. And I don't really feel comfortable with this particular action. It's not you, it's the action itself that I'm not comfortable with. And we really need to be able to communicate in a way that is effective. Like just bending over, waiting, and patiently just taking stuff on for the, what's it called? For the title of not being dramatic, it's not worth it. It's not worth it and it stresses you out. Or for the title of not being confrontational or whatever. It's like, there's a lot. It's not worth it. You're not going to be happy. At the end of the day, you're just going to be mad and miserable and are going to keep doing that action. And I do say there because this is not just a relationship thing. This happens in friendships as well. So I'm just applying it across the board. Where was I going with this? What was the story about? Back to the story. If you're in a similar situation and you have to write down what are your non-negotiables and what are the stuff that, okay, you may not necessarily like them, but you can get around them sometimes. What are your non-negotiables? And do not bend on your non-negotiables at all. At all. Don't bend. But that's what my advice is going to be for this person. It's just write down your boundaries. Write down your non-negotiables. What are they? And if that happens, or you find yourself in a situation where someone is crossing your boundaries, let them know at the first sign. At the first time, you have to set the tone immediately. If that happens, you let them know. If they do it again a second time, you let them know again, and now the ball is in your court as to how you're going to presume this thing, because some people may have really just forgotten and they try to, apologize and stuff like that. But some people are really just trying to test, like, okay, she said no now, but if I do it again, let me see, like how many times can I poke the bear until it just gives away? So, which is why I'm telling you guys to not bend on any of your non-negotiables. But yeah, that's what my advice is. I don't know if he's ghosting you. I don't know if he's playing games. I don't know what he's doing. And frankly, I do not care if you're in a similar situation as this woman. Like, honestly, it's not about him, but it's about what you tolerate. And it's about what you're willing to put up with to be in this type of relationship. Is this the type of relationship you want to be in? If it's not, the answer is obvious. You get out. If it is, and it works for you, then sure, go for it. I'm not going to tell you no. If something is working for you, then yeah, go for it. But if it's not working for you and you're just in this relationship because you don't want to be alone, or you have to have someone with you, it's just save yourself the hassle, save yourself the stress, get out so you can actually meet a viable partner out there who is going to make you feel special. All right, who is going to listen to you, who is going to, respect your boundaries and respect your non-negotiable, and not try to keep poking at the bear. So basically, that's it. That's my advice. So thank you so much for everyone who's listening to this, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to that episode. And what did you think, especially the first story? Because I know a lot of girls feel guilty having their partners spoil them when it comes to financial stuff. But honestly, I just think he's trying to share a wonderful experience with her, and it's really not that big of a deal. I mean, I get it because of the dollar amount, but again, like I said, relationships are give and take. Right now you're taking, but next time you're just gonna give in to him the way that is the only way you can. So don't try to do too much and try to stretch yourself thin because you feel as though you have to meet this standard when you're kind of not there. I'm pretty sure your partner is going to appreciate you giving any way that you can. And the second story, advice still stands. I think she should make a list of negotiables and non-negotiables. And when I was reading that thing, it was just like, I don't really think I wasn't going to feature the guy too much, because it was just like, But yeah, my advice for the second story stands is just make a list of non-negotiables and negotiables, and don't bend on your non-negotiables. That is it, and that is all. All right, if you ever want your story to be featured on one of our podcast episodes, then please send us an email on our Gmail account, which is kitchentableadvice@gmail.com. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, then don't forget to subscribe and like the video. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a review, preferably a 5-star review. And we'll see you next Sunday. Bye.